Hello everyone. Hello everyone. It's a couple of welcome to Road 54, and I'm so happy to have you with me. Today episode we will be interview someone that is very special. He's a friend of mine, and for this particular episode, we are going to visit Angola, my country, by the way. Angola is a country that is in the southern part of Africa. Not South Africa, because South Africa is a country in Africa. And we are going in the southern part in Angola. A curiosity about Angola is that in Angola we speak Portuguese. Portuguese is our first language because we was colonized by Portuguese people, and this is what we speak. And let me rush and present Pedro. Uh, and I'm so happy to have him. Yeah. Hi, Pedro. How are you? Hello. Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Amazing. Hi. Long
Hi.
time no see. And yeah,
Long time, long time.
so thankful, so grateful for the invitation to be part of the Roadmap 54. And yeah, let's get started.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, Pedro, to accept my invitation. This is Pedro Massango, pessoal. My people, and I think it will be very strange this interview because I want to speak in Portuguese with you, and we can't do that. So I don't know how we will be doing it, but we will try speaking English. We will try. We will do our best to speak it in English. I know Pedro like since 2016, 15. Like wow, we are friends for so long. And by the way, Pedro is he get married this year. Like congratulations more one time. I went to his wedding and it was very nice.
Yes.
Like great party with dance, with
Thank you. Thank you.
drinking. Was very nice. Pedro, tell us a little bit about you, what you do. First of all, like try to introduce yourself that people at home they can understand more about you.
Yeah, sure. For those who don't know me yet, I'm Pedro Massango. I'm of course from Angola, especially Kwanza Sul. Yeah, and I started my journey as a native Android developer in 2017. Not 17, but I don't know, 14 or something. But professionally, I got my first job in 2018. Before that, I was working mainly on my personal projects and also as freelancer. And this is how I got to know Elisa Capololo. In how was the name of that college? Um,
Is
Eden? Eden?
wait, I think Isotic.
Isotic.
Isotic, yeah.
Yes, Isotic. It now changed the name. The government said to change the name to
Yes.
something else, but yeah, back then it was called Isotic. Yeah, and after I started my professional career in 2018, I worked at Inokri. After Inokri, I joined Next. It's both of them are Angolan companies, and I worked from them from Angola. And after I worked for in Next, I joined Nevercode. Back then, it was called it was called Nevercode, and now it's Code Magic. They literally merged the name, or essentially they dropped the name of the company, and the name of the product is now the name of the company, became the name of the company. Yeah, so they are mostly known for the CI/CD product, and yeah, in Nevercode or Code Magic, I worked as open source support engineer. I know it's not a popular role or title for a job, but essentially my work was contributing for the Flutter repository. So basically, Code Magic has had a deal with Google to provide support for their GitHub repository, essentially by answering to issues, yeah, contributing with PRs and stuff like that. And it was pretty interesting because I had a chance to work closely with Google engineers, which was also meant I learned a lot from that experience. And after that, I joined Monster Lab in Czech Republic. I relocated to Czech Republic, and then I moved to Germany, where I'm living now, and now working for Monta, which is a company that have and provides a software tool to manage charge points for electrical vehicles. And yeah, that's essentially me. I do love to play video games on my free time. Um, yeah, what else? Yeah, and work on my personal projects, of course. Yeah, I think that's me in a nutshell. Maybe I'm forgetting something, but yeah, feel free to drop by some questions on social medias to find me. Of course,
Wow.
you will find me, right?
Yes.
Yeah, probably some links down in the comments or in the description somewhere.
Wow. Wow. I'm always very happy to talk with you, Pedro, and to learn with you, Renee. Well, like this podcast, the main idea of this podcast is to be able to show what young African people they are doing across their country, across the continent, either if they are living their respective country or no. And we want to be able to bring a perspective about you as a person in one Africa country. How do you see your country? Let us talk a little bit your perspective about Angola, your country. Like, how was for you growing up in Angola? Tell us a little bit how was for you, for example, like your family have a family in Angola, your children who
Yes,
your
yes, I
friends.
do.
Like, tell us a little bit about Angola.
Yeah, the struggle was real back then. Before I met you in 2016. Yeah, I've spent most of my time literally just learning on my own at home. Yeah, I during the high school, what I did was essentially like when I went to school, I was like when of course there is no class ready. Like in my free time, I was literally studying for the classes, preparing for the exams, and studying stuff related to the school. And at home, I was literally focused on just learning how to code. And my passion about coding was started when I started to play video games. Like I started playing video games at a very young age. I don't know, maybe uh, 2016 or 2006. Sorry, 2006 or seven. Yeah, around that time. Yeah, especially playing Vice City. So my elder brothers installed the Vice City, which is literally Vice City San Andreas, and the other one is what is it called? My God, I don't remember. Yeah, but literally Vice City and San Andreas. And when I started playing those video games, I was like, wow, the graphics were amazing, the animations, like back then it was something from the other world, you know. And then a colleague of mine introduced me to Pro Evolution Soccer. And at the time, I was like so in love with football. Of course, before knowing about those video games, I used to play football a lot with my friends in the streets, everyone does, I guess, in Angola till today. Yeah, and after I learned that, I was like, yeah, these games are awesome, and I started having those like daydreaming of like having my own games and stuff, like doing like changing the things that I want to change in the game itself. You know, like I build something and then I have like the power of changing stuff and then seeing it in action on the monitors and cell phones and things like that. And then I started to play video games on smartphones. at the time they weren't so smart, but for us, like it was something like so, it was like a very great innovation. Yeah, and then I started playing Contra on Motorola L7. What else? Yeah, at the time also PS Pro Evolution Soccer was also available on those smartphones. Not so smart, but at the time they were like smartphones. Yeah, and that's how I start. It started for me. Like I was like, okay, how can I build? How can I learn and then build my own games, my own apps? At the time we had this WAP Trick website where you go and download all the things you wanted, games, music. So I was like, yeah, I want to start building my own stuff. Yeah, and yeah, so and one day we had this like family computer at home in our living room, and my elder brother was essentially the only one using it because I was not I was not grown enough I was not grown enough to to use it. And one day I sneaked in and was like yeah messing around, and then I found a PDF file with this um, algorithms .pdf file that I found somewhere in the documents, and I was like, "What is algorithms?" And yeah, from that day, I was like, yeah, just chasing algorithms. What is algorithms? How they work? How can I use them? And where are they used? And yeah, from that day, everything changed for me. But yeah, but growing up in Angola, it's like uh, the struggle is very real. I think if you can survive in Angola, you can pretty much survive anywhere else in the world. Um, yeah, I think Elisa, of course, she knows how it is. But for me, um, it was very, very difficult. And in 2012, when I lost my dad, everything changed and it just got worse, like um, no enough food for the family, no support from a father, no directions, especially no directions, which is essential part for a man. I would say not just for a man, but especially for a man, because men get those like they try to be what their father became, because we admire a lot our fathers. They're like our role models, and growing up without that was very, I would say, painful. Um, yeah, and when you don't have that, you essentially have to find this somewhere else. And I thankfully got that from my friends. Yeah, I had good friends, very good friends, and yeah, that's um, how I got around that. And yeah, but besides that, yeah, a lot of challenges to learn how to code, a lot of challenges to get into tech. Essentially, even till today, internet is not like something that everyone can afford. And I remember me and my friend Anise Isidore that we used to go in those shopping malls with our computers, sit in the floor and just hack Wi-Fi to get access, and then download a bunch of videos from YouTube, and then go back home and yeah learn from those videos. And if you had any questions, since you don't have internet, what the things that we did is we noted down our questions on in a notebook, and then the next day when we went back, or in the we usually went there on Saturday. So the next Saturday you get all your questions to Google, and then you note down the answers, and yeah, you go back to study, and then you essentially repeat. But yeah, not everyone has this knowledge, so yeah, it's pretty hard for people to get into tech, um, because not just because internet is not available, but we don't in Angola they don't teach us how to use like essential stuff in schools either. So it gets harder because even your teacher don't know how to use a phone. They don't talk about computers that much. We used to have a class called informatics, it's still the case today, right, Elisa? And this class essentially
Yes.
they don't teach you like how to use like a computer the way you should. They essentially teach you how to create folders, how to rename folders, how to turn on computers, which isn't enough for the world that we live today. So yeah, a lot of struggles to grow in Angola, especially for people that want to get into technologies.
Yeah, this is true. For example, I think we call it in Portuguese, informática na ótica do utilizador. Yeah, this is how.
Yes, yeah.
This
So
is
it's informatics in the optics of the
user.
user.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's why they that just teach you like how to use how to turn off a computer, how to close a window, how to resize the window, how to go to the settings to change the wallpaper, and yeah, those basic stuffs essentially. Not
Bas
something like really deep.
Basically, is how you will how you will work with Word, and it's like all the Word kind of all the Word package, because you will learn how to work with Microsoft Word, PowerPoint,
Yes.
more what?
Yeah, PowerPoint. There is another one. I think it's called the Access.
Yeah, I think so.
Something
Excel too. I
something
think
those lines. I don't.
little bit of Excel.
Yeah. So they just teach you the basics of Excel, summing, cells, and yeah. But it was pretty hard, to be honest.
It really is. For example, USA, something that I remember when and this is very fun, when I get to informatics in high school. At that time, I was the only person, and I still the only person in my family that did that. It is in this technology sector, and I
Yeah,
remember
that's true.
like my mom, and this is fun, she pay this course that we are saying, informática náutica do utilizador in Portuguese, for my brother, like my younger brother. He's 3 years younger than me. I will make you laugh. And it's like I'm the one doing informatics, but she paid for him, and she told me like, and at that time my father, I remember he bought a computer. We have like a computer at home, but you know how in Angola things they are like, this is the computer, but you can't touch it because you will broken. But we have the computer, you can't
Yeah,
touch it,
yeah.
you will broken.
It's like yeah, our families they don't give us like the freedom to learn and break stuff and learn. Because they're just afraid that you will break things, and yeah, to repair it is so expensive. And the thing that about the thing that Elisa mentioned is that yeah, there is also a stigma, or at least there used to be a stigma that tech is not for women. So that's why probably your mother didn't pay the course, the informatics course for you, but they did for your younger brother. She was like, yeah, you should probably take
Medicine.
medicine, or something along those lines, instead of doing tech stuff.
Yeah, this is true. And she really paid for him. And you know what you say is what she told me. Like, oh no, he's the boy and he need to do this technical stuff. And they're like,
Oh yeah.
oh yeah. This is what she told me. And I'm like, it is okay, and I need to learn, and how to learn like working with the computer by myself, and use my
Yes.
curiosity to do that. This was how I went into tech, and like this is how our family is. I think right now in Angola, things they are better. Now we are mainly for the new generation. They are giving the freedom for their children to use the technology as kind of as the way that they want. Ada, I still think that we control a little. It is our they take like phones, and they can play with phones better than us. adult. I really don't understand. Sometimes like wow, wow, you know. And Pedro, tell us
Yeah,
more a little bit. Okay, how was for you like how was for you and for your family lose your father very soon? Things in how you guys like handle things at the family? Like how was or how is the life of someone they lose the father?
yeah. It's a how I would describe it. It's very challenging because even if you have a father, he's still not at home sometimes. At the at home like every day. So you still you still you will still struggle a little bit with some things, but when you don't have him around at all, and just by the just when you remember that you can't even ask him anything anymore because he's not alive anymore, you have this like deep feeling like some part of you is gone. Because one thing I really used to talk with my father a lot was like he used to ask me a lot every time, a lot of times, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And this is one of the questions that changed my life. And I remember one time when, at the time when I was alive, I think it was um, around 1 year or 9 months before, nine, no, 1.2 years before, yeah, before he died, he we were like at home, and he asked me like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And this is the time when I was like considering um considering my choices, because I was about to join the high school. And then I had to do that, I had to, of course, I would need to decide which course I would want to do. And yeah, when he asked me this question, I said like I want to be a scientist. Because when I was younger, yeah, just a side note, I had this dream of creating it's not like, like the concept was essentially a battery that would collect, that would store internet data so you can use it anywhere. And at the time, I didn't know like how the internet, how Wi-Fi, how mobile data works. So for me, like that was something I really needed, because I struggled a lot with internet from since a young age. So I said to him, "Yeah, I want to be a scientist before." And then this question basically was coming up from time to time for myself. And this is also some. These are also some. This also somehow led me into tech, because at a young age I was always asking myself why and how and which how where I want to be when I grown up. And yeah, if I had my father around, I would probably be into politics, because he were into politics, and we usually tend to follow our dads, right? So, but then when after it's gone, everything changed. Because yeah, at the time I was like, okay, I want to join tech. I want to learn how tech works to build my own games and stuff. And then after he's dead, we had to spend like we spent like 7 months grieving him. Because yeah, a lot of people were coming around the world for his how do you call it in English, um the day when you bury him. I forgot the name, but yeah, a lot of people were coming across the world to say goodbye. So it took us 7 months to bury him, and to close the grieving cycle. I guess that's how it's called in English. So because of that, we took like we joined the high school late, and at the time, every school, all the schools didn't have like slots available for us to join. So my mother just said, okay, since your father is gone, then you should not stay 1 year at home. So you should just join whatever course there is available and just study and you know figure out how would you do it, but you won't stay at home after your father died. So I just we me and my brother we had to join politics in high school. So we did politics. I was not happy about it, but at the time I essentially wasn't think about it. I mean, I lost my dad, and that's all I was thinking about for like the first 2 years. Yeah, I kind of got a bit depressed, to be honest. um, um, yeah, and yeah, I think this losing him like changed everything for me and for my family. Um, then we start to struggle a lot um, with the basic stuff, with food and everything else, without support from anything. And I would also probably give a lot of props to my mom for like giving us the essential and then letting us figure the other things for ourselves. Because without my mom, we would probably like be stealing around just to win in life. But yeah, I had to work in a mean supermarket for a mini supermarket in close to my house just for a living to support the house and have some money left to go to school. This was during the school time. Um, yeah, so I had to work and figure out stuff for a very young age, and I think I this also helped me like to learn a bunch of stuff because when you learn in life that you don't have like someone to look after you, yeah, you will probably decide either sit and cry or you clear your how do you
Your
say
tears.
imagining. Yeah,
Tears.
you clear your tears and then yeah you start to figure out stuff, and that's essentially what I did. Like yeah, just started to learn and yeah, was so obsessed with tech. And the reason I choose tech instead of other things like football, for instance, is because I was after I started like having these thoughts about where do I want to be when I grow up. So I started to consider a few things like either I joined tech, I started learning tech, and then um, hopefully I get some job in the future, or I invest in my football career because I was somewhat good at football at the time. And football was like basically what every young boy was dreaming about becoming when he grew up because, yeah, everyone watched football. They earn a pretty decent amount of money, at least for the um, Angola standards of living. So I was like, yeah, I either spend time learning tech or try football or or start to just or start to just look for jobs like yeah cleaning, yeah, stuff like that. The reason I decided to go with tech first is because back then I already had this thought like that the tech was the future, especially because of the games that I played at the time, and just by thinking how far we would become after like 10, 15, 20 years from that time. So was like, yeah, tech is the future. But the interesting thing is, the families were really struggling to to live. So my mom was like, yeah, you guys are growing up, you need to start look for job because we are starving here. So I was like, okay, so I either go out and start to look for jobs to support the family, or just invest my time into learning tech. And yeah, of course, I decided to go with the second option, which is invest time in tech, but while being hungry at the same time. And yeah, that was not. I really happy. I really that was not a decision that my family was happy about, especially my mom, because yeah, of course she had a reason for that. I mean, you don't have like proof that if you learn tech, you would like made it in life. You would like get a job in the future. So yeah, it was like really hard to navigate this and to convince my mother that yeah, if I just let me learn tech, and then after some year we would go out of poverty. um, but yeah, thankfully, after a few years, when I got my first job, she was pretty happy about it, and then she started like advocating my other brothers to also join tech, because she had a proof finally that yeah, tech works, and it got us out of poverty. And yeah, it was awesome. But yeah, I'm not sure if I missed something from your question, but yeah, that was essentially it. Like when you lose a father, not just a father, I would say, if you lose a parent at a very young age, it would pretty much change your future, either for the good or for the bad. And the good thing is that you are the one deciding which path you want to go. So I would, for me, I would pretty much also go and be a thug instead of yeah decide to learn and yeah try to find a job. Yeah, but then I just decided to take that a different path, and yeah, I it got me where I am now. So yeah, it can change everything. And another thing that I would say is that a life of someone that lost a parent at a young age is never the same with someone that have both parents and support of both parents. Yeah. So we sometimes take them for granted, like, okay, my father is there and he will probably be there for forever. But yeah, that's not true. And you should take like, yeah, always take time to say hi, take time to chat with them, because they're not around forever. And yeah, once they're gone, you will miss them like for the rest of your life.
This is true. I think we really need to learn how to be grateful for that they are around us, our parents, our brothers, our friends. It is very important.
Yeah, sure.
Like looks kind of people they are always saying about it, but I think it is necessary we will be grateful. And sometimes I think we need to say how grateful we are to have these people around us. And I think for us as African,
Yeah.
we don't have this kind of culture to say how grateful we are with the people around us. It is kind of you
Yeah.
only live, you know. You really know.
Yeah, that's also true. Like Angolan culture is essentially like your parents are there to support you, to give you food, to get you into school, and then at after you hit 18 or 18 plus, you're supposed to start like get ready to get out of the house and build and form your own family. But we don't have this culture of like reaching out to parents, talk to them, like ask for advice from your parents.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's harder for us to go to your mom or to your father like, yeah, I'm so grateful to have you. Those kind of stuff. It's for Africans, it's kind of awkward. So we
Yes.
we just avoid it. But yeah, we should probably change that.
Yes,
Yeah, we should probably change that.
we really should
Um,
because
even 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 for friends, I think it's a similar things in Angola. I'm not sure if it's the same in Africa, but yeah, for friends we always take them for granted. We don't reach out so often from time to time. Like yeah,
it's true. I think we really need to start to build this kind of environment that uh, it's like I can show you that I'm here for you, and if you need me, like I'm here, and talk frequently. In Angola, we really don't have it. I think when you say about advice, I was like, oh my god, this is weird. At least for me,
yeah,
maybe there is family that this happen, but at least for me, I really don't remember a time that I went to my father. And I never did that, to be sincere. I never went to my father and I asked him for advice.
yeah.
Maybe it's
You probably should.
yeah,
Yeah, we young.
yeah.
We usually tend to assume that we know everything, especially when we are younger. But yeah, there is some things that in life that we can avoid by asking elder people how we should take things, which path should we do, and but you also should be careful with the advice, and that's the other thing I would suggest because, for instance, I used to ask for advice a lot, but then the advice weren't always aligned with what I wanted to be. And also at the same time, they weren't always right. So when you take advice for anyone, actually, not just for your parents or elder people, when you take advice for everyone, you should always consider if that's a good thing. If it's a good thing for you. Second thing is, um, if the people have context enough, experience enough in the field that you are asking advice for, and then you should decide based on that if whether to take the advice or not. And even if you take the advice, you should take the advice as if you were the one coming up with the advice, and not just assume, okay, I take the advice from Elisa, and then I accept the advice, I go for it, and then things go wrong, and then I go back to Elisa and I say, okay, it's your fault that I took your advice because you shouldn't have advised me for that, So you should take you should take the advice as if they were yours, and whenever if you apply the advice or not, you should always have in mind that for anything that you do with yourself, with your stuff, yeah, you in the end you're always the one taking the blame and not someone else, even and especially not the people that gave you the advice. For instance, like I used to ask a lot, like whether getting into tech would be a good idea. And of course, my mom used to say, of course not. We are starving, and you need to go out there and find a job, figure out how to bring us food at home because we need it here. But then I didn't take the advice because as Elisa knows it, like if you in Angola, if you are younger and you start working, you probably lose interest for the things that you really want in life because you start getting like so obsessed with money. You think, okay, I'm earning this much money, so my life is pretty much done, so I can, yeah, live a good life. So you will stop chasing your dreams just because you are earning like not a good income, but something that put a food in the table, and you have some leftover to buy the things you want.
This is true. I think I don't know, but I think a lot of people here in Angola, they work, and we understand, the country at this moment is easy at all, and the people they are
Yeah.
getting job only for, let me see, survive maybe. I can say that, you need to work because you have family.
Yeah, you need to put food in the table.
Yeah, 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 because of this, and it is very hard. It is really, really hard. And I'm so happy, Pedro, to know that you made a very great choice. That is, let me follow tech and ignore my mom's advice. Please don't tell
Yeah,
your mom that I say
and
that. You know me.
yeah, and to be honest, I haven't fully ignored her advice because um when I joined the high school during the end of the first year, I I started working at this small supermarket just to bring food in the table at home. So it was not like I fully discarded or ignored her, but at the same time, it's not as if I ignore everything I wanted for myself and just followed her advice because I was like, okay, mom is right. We need food at home, but at the same time, I'm right that tech is the future. I need to learn tech because I am pretty sure in the future I will get a pretty good job and I will earn a pretty good amount of money for to support my family. So I took both advice and yeah, I remember like when I was working at the supermarket, for instance, I was like splitting my the income in half, like half for home and not half actually. It was like pretty much everything for home, pretty much everything to support us to get some food and leave some some like pretty small amount of money to buy bus tickets to go to school for me and my brother. So yeah, it was like yeah, just working for a living. Um, so I mean, yeah, I think you should we should probably be teach at a young age how to take this to make decisions as well. Because in Angola, it's not actually for just Angola, but looking specifically for for the Angolan people, we don't really get to know much about how what are the options, which options we could have in the future. um so people just, yeah, they born, they go to school, and they go to college, and then they find a job, they get married, and yeah, they settle, and that's it. And this is something happening across the world, but in Angola specifically, yeah, you don't even know like where you could be if you put effort into some fields. If you go to someone and say, "Did you know that you can work for Google if you dedicate yourself in learning, for instance, mathematics and the other disciplines?" They will say like, "Oh no, this is impossible. You would never be able to land a job at those companies." But they are actually possible. And when people tells you this, you kind of get this drive like, "Oh no, I really want to work for Google. I really want to work for Amazon. I really want to work for those big companies." And those things, like, they kind of drive you to to push yourself and, yeah, dedicate yourself to make it these dreams are a reality. And I think you recall pretty much that Lucius Corrado used to tell us a lot about this in 2017, I guess, or 2018.
Yeah, this is true. I think Lucy was an amazing person, and he really helped
Yeah, he
a
changed
lot.
our lives.
Yeah, completely. Like he really changed
Yeah.
our lives, you know? And I feel so happy and glad to meet him and to learn him. Like was amazing. And when you say about work in Google, I think you remember only to give a little bit of context. Me and Pedro, I still doing it. Uh, Pedro, he was like a GDG, organized Google Develops Group, organized in Luanda.
Yes.
Luanda, guys, Luanda with L, no Rwanda. Rwanda is a country in Africa. In Luanda, the
Yes,
capital,
Luanda with
yes,
L.
sometimes they mix the capital of Angola. and we was like a Google develops group, and I think we still have this dream of, and I still have this dream of work in Google or in one of these big tech company. And with the time,
Yeah.
we realized that it is possible because there are people that we know here in Africa, in other African countries, not specifically in Angola, but we know like some people that actually they're working in Google, and there are people like, wow, we know these people. And either here in Angola, we have some few Angolan people that they are working abroad in big company like Meta. I think we have people in Amazon, if I'm not. And for us, it's like, wow,
Shopify.
yes. For us, like, wow, this is possible, it is really possible you do that because you see someone that born in the same country as you. He grew up in the same country as you, and currently they're working in this company. And for us, like, wow, this is very possible. Something that I want us to talk a little bit, Pedro, is the language barrier. As I said in the beginning, like Angola, our country, we speak Portuguese. Portuguese is our first language, the official language of the country, and we use Portuguese basically for all, like teach it in school for official documents and all stuff. And we know that technology in itself, it is in English. And I know the same issue that I face, and maybe I still
So
facing, it is the same issue that you face. Like, how was for you navigate in this language stuff, from Portuguese to English? How did you learn technology, like in Portuguese? And like currently, you are not living in Angola, you are living in German. And like
yeah.
how me as a Angolan person, as a normal Angolan person that only speak in Portuguese, maybe I don't have it in my mind. I don't know in my mind like if the English is important or not. Like, but how was for you to navigate through it, to learn technology, to get a job outside of Angola? That speaking in Portuguese. Like, it is possible if I don't speak English, be able to do that. I can see it is possible because I see you, but how was for you? Tell us a little.
Yeah, I think this is one of the, among the other struggles that someone that wants to get into tech will face is the language barrier. Uh, yeah, because essentially everything, yeah, everything is is in English. The good source of knowledge is in English. So you will need the English for pretty much everything. The computers that we use, the tools that we use, to interact with people in in the tech community is usually in English. Uh, yeah, books are in English, so you essentially have you need English to navigate into the tech ecosystem around the world. For me, I started to learn English at a pretty young age. Not intentionally, I would say, but out of necessity. So when I was like at this stage of playing video games, as everyone knows, Vice City, GTA Vice City is in English. So like the characters were all talking in English. San Andreas was in English. So I started to have like this. My first interaction with English was essentially with games. Um, so like I started to learn from that point. Like to learn English is not that difficult. You just need to immerse yourself into English. So you need to hear a lot of English, to talk, to write a lot of English, and yeah, after some time you will start to learn. And of course, you need to practice as well. Yeah, so I start to have this interaction with English from games, and then at the young age as well, I didn't quite like English Angolan music, so I was always skeptical about it. It's like rap in the United States. Like they don't. they don't say nice stuff. It's just people offending others, and yeah, I didn't quite like that at the time. So I started to listen to a lot of English musics. So from Old City, Coldplay, Linkin Park, Evanescence, um, what else? Yeah, and bunch of other singers and bands. So I used to yeah, to listen to a lot of music, and somehow my brain started to just understand English. So by the time I needed to to improve my English, then it was just a matter of start practicing and be more mindful and learn the grammatics of the language. And also at a young age, I started to interact because of games as well. I started to interact with people around the world using how is the that game platform that people
Huh?
use to communicate? There is a platform where you communicate with people or Discord. Yeah, Discord
Oh, okay.
and Facebook at the time. Yeah, Facebook was starting to gain a lot of traction. So yeah, I started to interact with a lot of people from the gaming community, and in from 2017 or 16, I started to interact with the tech community. Um, so that's when I started to do some English videos in YouTube in my YouTube channel already in English. So my English wasn't great, but then I really wanted to learn it. So I started to just throw out a lot of stuff in English. I started to write articles in English, sometimes with the help of Google Translator. This is how I essentially learned it. I didn't went to a course. I didn't went to a English school or something to learn. I just started to use English from early on my life. So yeah, that was pretty much it. But it's a huge struggle for people in Angola, and I think this is one of the main barriers. Um, to and this is also one of the main reasons we don't have a lot of people into a lot of Angolans into tech communities around the world because they don't understand and the default language for those communities is usually English. So you pretty much needed to navigate to make your way into the world in this field.
I completely agree with you. I really agree that this is one of the main reason that we don't have tech. The language barrier is there and really exists. I think your case is a particular case, but we have a lot of people here that they are trying to learn technology and they don't have a great resource to be learning how to take because good resource they are in English. We can still have some that Brazilian people they share, but I still think it is not enough. We really need to have
Yeah,
more.
and the reason that it isn't enough is because for Brazilians, especially Brazilians, because we don't have a lot of articles or the same amount compared to other um, PALOBs countries, is because if you need to wait for Brazilians to release an article just for you to learn, then you start to get behind because you need to wait for someone to translate or to write an article about that specific text so that you can learn. So it's pretty much preferable to just learn English, and then whenever something is out there, you just go there and also start learning at the same pace instead of waiting for someone somewhere in the world with some free time to release a video or an article about that to for you to learn. And I wanted to add something. Um, yeah, and the other things that we don't Angolans struggle a lot with English is also because I think we are pretty much like another thing we lack besides English is that the Angolan people don't really have like this view, this worldview of how things work.
Yes.
And this is something that we still need to teach people. Like they don't even know how where they how how useful the learning English is.
Yeah.
So you still
Opportunities.
need to tell them like, yeah, if you learn English, you will be open to a world of opportunities from different across different fields, across different areas. So they are pretty much like, okay, why should I learn English? And th- the best way to learn something is when you have like a reason to learn it. So if you say like, okay, I want to get into tech, and in order to do that, I need to have English, and you really want to get into tech, then you will learn English like, yeah, in a short period of time. But when you don't even know, when you're not even sure like where you wanna go or why you should learn English or which opportunities you are missing because of the lack of the language, then yeah, it's pretty hard to learn that way. So yeah, it's a I think it used to be yeah, I will say this in the past. It used to be our one of our um, one of our goals or dreams to like to wake up the Angolan community to like yeah to tell them how much they are missing and where they can go if they learn English, if they learn tech, where like which opportunities they are missing and how and teach them how they could like to get there where they want. Yeah, and we did this for how long? I think we are doing it. Yeah, GDC Rwanda is still
Yes.
available. There is still a lot of great communities um, available to learn that. I think Antonio Pedro is also coming up with pretty good communities, specific communities, and yeah, a lot of events to to wake up people. But yeah, we're still not there, and yeah, there is still a long way to go. And I think the only thing that I think the things that we should do is just continue to try to wake up people and share our knowledge so they can have they can see the world the same way as we see it, and yeah, they can make their way to the dreams that they have
Yeah.
basically.
And this is true. I think uh we are losing so like opportunities because for those that they speak English, they have a lot of opportunity available. And fun enough, all the most part of the countries that they are our neighbors, they speak like the most part of the country in the southern part of Africa speak English. And sometimes I feel like we as Angolan, we are inside of a Portuguese bubble and we don't have this opportunity. Fun enough, we are from Angola and we are doing this podcast in English. And I think people they can ask why. Why I'm doing it in English? Because I think there is more opportunity for people listen to me speaking in English. The market of Portuguese it is very small and I want to be able to talk with people across the continent and the only language that we can use that will be easy to communicate is English. Then like I need to learn English. I need to talk to do it in English. I really want one day we be able to, as you say, wake up and see how important it is we as a Angolan learn English and start getting opportunity out there. There is so much opportunity, Pedro. Like when I realized it, I was in shock. Or like, what is going on? Why we don't have access to it? Why we don't know about it? How we don't know about scholarship programs that they are there. Why we don't know about grants opportunity for startup because here we have startups too. Here we are trying to do the things too, but we don't know that this kind of thing exists. We are really inside of a Portuguese bubble, and this is what I like to say. Like we are inside of a bubble.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
and thankfully, Brazil got off of it, because Brazil is so way ahead of in the tech ecosystem than Portugal itself, and I think it should be our goal as well, like to not be like fully dependent of Portugal for everything.
this is true. I
And
completely agree. I think we need to we need to be able to start building our own stuff, our own technology in our way. I think we have a lot of smart people
yeah,
across the country. We really have. Like,
and some might become independent.
yes.
It's not it's not good to be like fully dependent on in a country for all, which is not a good idea.
I think
But yeah,
right now there are like still some companies and the startup that trying to do something. We hope that they will do something. Hope. And let us. I want you like to give some advice from that Angolan people that I hope they will listen to us. That this is in English, but they will.
you will you have captions, right?
Yes, I need to do that. I really
Ah,
need to do
nice.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
I hope they can listen
But
to us.
anyway, I mean, I I don't think I, I, even though we really want them, we really want to help the Angolan community to also grow in this tech ecosystem. I think we are also doing a pretty good job by providing those content in English because they need to know that yeah, the world is moving and is moving along with English and not with Portuguese. Of course, we help them in some other ways, like having events, tech events to share some knowledge, and those events are every day, every time. They are all in English, in Portuguese. Sorry. So I don't think we should be like releasing everything in Portuguese. So it's fine to yeah sometimes sneak in and put some English into them. But yeah, I hope the world will see this and yeah, have a little bit of overview of how things are there. Um, for advices, I mean, I do have a lot of advices. Do you have any specific areas do you want me to talk about? Because I can even have advices about decision making, or for instance, how to take advantage when you attend an event. Because sometimes, a lot of times, Angola just go to events and they don't really learn much, or they don't take they don't take much of out of it. So yeah, there is plenty of advices. I should probably start to write some articles or something. Or maybe
Please
we
do
can,
that.
of course, you can invite me next time and then we can talk specifically about that in Portuguese, even.
Okay,
That would be great.
can do that. Okay, let's do that. I want you to give advice about decision maker for young African and young Angolan in general way. And secondly, I want you to give advice for those that they are in Angola and for those kids and the young people that they are in Africa and they want to start into tech, but maybe they don't know where they will start and how they will do it. I think these two advice can be very helpful
Okay.
to our audience.
The first one would probably be don't quit on your dreams. Um, as impossible as they might seem, don't quit them. Um, always you can take a break, but never quit. During my journey, I used to like stop coding or stop studying for a week or for 2 weeks, but never like say I quit and I will never touch it. So don't quit on your dreams. If you have questions, reach out to people in social medias. Nowadays, we have social medias, and you can reach a lot of experts in different fields by just writing a message. They're available all there. You can just send them a message on LinkedIn, Twitter. Yeah, try to be for Africans specifically, not just Angolans. If you want to get a job into this international market, you should. I strongly recommend you to focus on building a presence online, because if you don't have a presence online, companies will never trust you. I was only able to have like a job in the tech industry because I have a strong presence, and also the strong presence especially is highly recommendable, highly recommended for people who don't have like a college degree in tech. So go and be active on LinkedIn. Share your knowledge, as small as they might seem. Share your knowledge on LinkedIn, Twitter. Try to connect with people with the same interest as you. Yeah, and don't be shy. Always ask questions. Um, yeah, the other thing would be attend as much of tech event as you can. And during those events, don't just go there to watch the I forgot the words. What do you say, palestra?
Okay, lecture.
Yeah, yeah. Don't just go to events to watch the lectures. You should go to events to interact, to make connection with other people with the same interest as you. And then whenever you meet someone, you say your name is, you just go there and say, hi, i'm I'm Pedro. I'm interested into tech. I'm interested into native Android. I'm interested into backend development. And what about you? Who are you? Where do you live? Do you have work? What you what you've been doing these days? And people are pretty much open to say. The thing is that no one wants to be the one to start, break the ice and start the conversation. So you could pretty much be that person, and just go to events, meet as much people as you can. And if I usually only watch a lecture if like the content is very important for me right now, and I can't wait to see the recordings, or if the content won't be recording and I really need the that information. But otherwise, you just go to events to interact with people, learn, and see how can you help people, how can you get help from other people, and that's it. And never quit. Um, Am I missing some areas specifically regarding decision making? Um, yeah, always take advice as advice. Don't take advice as Pedro told me to learn backend. Then he's probably right. I should go ahead and install everything and start learning backend. You should take my advice or anyone else's advice with a grain of salt. Okay, Pedro told me to learn backend because of reason X, Y, Z. Um, and then you should ask yourself, why should you take this advice? Is Pedro knowledgeable enough in that field to tell you to learn this tech? Is Pedro knowledgeable enough to tell me I should take backend instead of native Android, for example? And the same goes with any other thing in life. Human could be saying, okay, you should probably drop everything from tech and go and apply for medicine or learn medicine, or any other things, or marketing or something like that. And when people give you advice like that, you should always consider and consult yourself. What do you want? And every advice should be aligned with what you want. Not every time, but most of the time should be about that. For instance, I would never advise someone in Angola to go and learn, um, go into college and apply for, how is it called, the course? Tourism and what? There is a course called that
Oh, yes. In
in
the
the
tourism
college.
sector.
Yeah, yeah, in the tourism sector. So I wouldn't advise younger people to go and apply for these areas unless they're very passionate about it. So yeah, so people will say, okay, I should probably suggest you to go into tech. But if you're not that much into tech, you don't have like that much drive yourself, then yeah, follow your heart and just make sure that you are making a you are like mindful of the choice that you are making, and you are mindful of the consequences, the positive and the negative consequences of that advice. And then you take advice based on that. And that's essentially it. Like there is no magic wand that you, or there is no one in life that can come came and tell you, okay, if you follow this path, you will be successful. Like he's probably telling you based on his experience, and my experience will never be the same as yours. We are not we're not born, we were not born in the same environment. We are not having the same path. We are not having the same friends, the same experience with um, the same tutors. We don't have the same base of knowledge. So you should have always have you should always take advices with a grain of salt, and yeah, be mindful and be mindful of the consequences of those advice, and most importantly, we be mindful with the decision that you decide to take. And always, as always, yeah, if you take some advice and it don't goes the way you wanted it to go, yeah, you're always the one to blame and not the people that gave you the advice. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any other question, you should probably send me a message on social medias, Twitter, LinkedIn, or X. Um, Although I don't pretty much use those pretty often, but yeah, from time to time I do check them, and yeah, I will eventually reply to your message.
I think with this we can say to don't compare yourself with others because your life journey is completely different journey.
Yes, yes. Everyone has his own journey, and what you should do is take the experience from others and yeah, try to incorporate them into your journey, and not like bring and just add everything that they told you and yeah, put into your journey, because yeah, it's never the same, and you will probably um, not end up where you want to be if you do that.
So much. It was very insightful. I learn. I think the people that
Yeah.
will listen to us, they will learn it too. Something that I want to start doing this podcast. This is the first episode, but I really want to start already in this first episode. I want you to I want to start like my idea is the guest, in this case you tell the name or you will invite another person to be here. Maybe,
Recommend someone.
yes, recommend
The next
someone.
one, okay.
Yeah. This is not a recommendation. It's
Um,
literally an invitation because maybe I can bring,
invitation, okay.
yeah, I can bring this person in the next episode or maybe in another one. But first of all, I
Another
want
one,
you
yeah.
to think very quickly who is the person that you want me to invite. Can be someone from Angola or from another African country that you know. And secondly, I want you to say
Yeah.
why you want me to bring this person here. Go.
Wow. Yeah, I know a lot of people, but yeah, I will just randomly pick one, especially based on the journey that I know for, because I am curious as well to listen to their story. So that person would be Braulio Casuli. Uh, you know him, I know him, and yeah, I really want him to share his journey because I think people would learn a lot from him, and yeah, he have a lot, he do have a lot of knowledge to share with the community.
Wow, I'm so happy because you say this name. Oh my God. I don't
Yeah,
know how I will, I don't know how I will be bringing him here, but
yeah, that's a challenge.
yes.
I challenge you know to bring him.
Woo! You really challenge me. You really, really challenge me. Okay, but I will try to bring Braulio Casule in another episode. Maybe will be the next episode or will be another one, but this is my
Yeah.
challenge. You are giving me a challenge. Okay. Pedro, thank you so so much to spend this time with me. Thank you for sharing about your life, about your family, to open your heart and to talk with me and with us, of course, for the us
Always.
about who is you, what you do, how you do these things. This was very insightful. As I said, I really learned a lot. Thank you. Thank you so much. Do you want to say more something
And
before we end the episode?
yes, thank you so much for inviting me and for being the first guest of the Roadmap 54 podcast. Yeah, looking forward, and feel free to ping me in the future if we have any other topic to share with the community.
Okay, I will. Of course, I will. And I don't know if you forgot. I told you once that if I start a podcast, you'll be my first guest, and I bring you here. I'm
Yes,
so
I
happy.
remember. I think
Yeah,
it I think it was probably 6 months ago or something. I don't remember. That has been some time already.
yeah. You see, I bring you here, and more once, Pedro. Thank you so much. And for the
Thank you.
people, yes, for the people, for our people at home, thank you so much to listen to this podcast. This is our first episode, and I hope that you can share with your friends if you, and of course, uh, give us some comments and how we can. Bye bye, until the next episode. Pedro, bye.